Alright, so it's been quite a few weeks since you last heard of me. Um, I definitely got a little carried away. I'm a little new to this video making stuff, but this is the Mosin stock still. What I went ahead and did was I bought some of this Brownells TCE cleaner degreaser, and I'm combining it with their old-fashioned whitening. This stuff is supposed to pull all the grime and grease and dirt up out of the stock without damaging it. And it's not, I didn't want to use stripper. I don't like using stripper on wood, and I want to do all this indoors. And this stuff is kind of, it's some sort of alcohol because as soon as you touch it, it starts to evaporate. So this stuff isn't like super bad to sit there and inhale because it just, like I said, it evaporates. You get a little bit of a breeze in here and you're fine. But with the stripper and stuff, I don't have a big shop or nothing to be doing this, running stripper on there. So all I did was I went ahead and grabbed the stock and I wiped it down first with some of this lemon oil treatment just to get the real nasty stuff off the surface, sand, grime, actual dirt. I was just wiping it off, and as you can see, this cloth is pretty nasty from wiping it down. So I did that first, and then I've been real busy lately, so I haven't had much time to do anything else. So I did that, let it sit for a few weeks, and came back to it finally. And what I did was I went ahead and mixed those two together, and it gives you this kind of a pasty substance. It actually mixed together a lot differently than I thought it would. This stuff is super sloppy, it's real splashy, so you do got to be careful with it. And they say just to use like some sort of paintbrush. They say to use like an acid brush, but I just went to Walmart, bought some cheap brushes. It looked like it worked pretty good. So I got this stuff. I just went ahead and painted it up. And you can kind of see, I guess you can't really see it too easily on the camera, but you can see because the stuff is supposed to turn color where it's basically pulling out. In the lighter spots, you can't really see it very well with the camera, but in the lighter spots, it's actually like a yellowish color, which means that it is pulling the grease out of the gun. So I did that, and then as that's curing or drying or whatever you want to call it, I'll go ahead and show you what I did with the pieces that I took off. So after a lot of scraping and rubbing and everything, I was able to get all of, I think a video I was watching, they call it sugar rust from the wood. It had all that nasty gritty material between like the butt plate and the buttstock that I just kind of sat there and I just kind of used like a little scraper tool and just kind of sat there and nice and easy scraped off all that rusty crap. It's nice and clean and smooth now, so I had to do that for this. And there's actually like a stamped H in there. I'm not sure what that is, but this is all clean now. I went ahead and cleaned all the screws. I mean, everything actually looks really nice after I cleaned it up. I kind of wiped it down with some degreaser and stuff, and I mean, there's not very much bluing left on any of these pieces, but I was able to remove most of the rust. And all I did for like stuff like this was I just kind of sat there and rubbed it down with the 4-0, like the ultra fine steel wool. So I kind of sat there and rubbed everything down. Here's your bolts. I mean, you can see like there's some pitting. It'll focus. There's some pitting on this. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's not. I removed almost all the rust from it, so it's just kind of empty pits. So I mean, I'm still going to be able to use these. They're completely usable. But I think everything actually turned out pretty decent after I sat there and scrubbed it down. So I'm pretty happy with how these turned out. So like I said, now I forgot to paint this. So here's this piece. This is the handguard. Now from handling this, it actually split all the way down the middle, which it's still somehow attached by like a thread. So I'm trying to keep it like that. And I've already devised a method to glue it without with being able to keep its shape. I'll show you guys that when I actually come to gluing it, which is after I get done doing this part right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and paint this for you guys so you can see. So get your slop, and it just kind of sticks to the brush a little bit, and it'll come off kind of runny. So I'm just gonna go ahead and paint this up. And it doesn't look like there's much going on when you're painting it. It looks like it's all running off and everything, but that's just because it's clear from actually being so much liquid in it. Okay, brush the coat brush a little bit more. Just kind of, like I said, this is kind of like an alcohol-y substance, some sort of acetone, I'm assuming. So touching it isn't a big deal. I'm not sure what the whiting stuff is. It's some sort of powder that can't be too harmful because it's just a medium for the acetone or whatever to mix with, so that it can pull all the dirt and capture the dirt in the powder. I honestly have no idea what they're using. It could be baby powder for all I know, but it looks like it's working. So I'm just kind of sitting here painting it. And the only reason I'm really doing this, pulling all this stuff out, is because I have to do a lot of gluing. And I wanted to try to get all the grime off of this to get it out of the open wounds of the stock. And also, I know that when I glue it back up, you're gonna have to do patchwork. You're gonna have to sand it to get the glue spots and do touch-ups. And I honestly, I don't want to have an uneven looking finish on my stock because that's just tacky. So that was the plan. It was to try to get it as even as possible, try to pull up all the grime and dirt without removing and damaging the wood. So once this is all dried and cured, I need to flip it and do the other side, which actually it looks dry enough to do so right now. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Just gonna scooch this a little bit. They say not to do it all at once, but I think they just mean coat it. So let's go ahead and coat the stock. And this is a very dirty process. I mean, this stuff will wipe off easy. It's just that powder is going to be a bitch to get off. Like I said, I mean, this stuff wasn't cheap either. I think I totaled it up like $70 when I bought everything, the stain, or not the stain, the polish or whatever, and this stuff, and I think this can right here, the TCE was like $26 or $30 already on top of that. So I mean, at least I'll be able to do many stocks from now on, but I don't know how often I plan on doing this. Unless this really turns out nice and I really do enjoy how it turns out. I just don't know how many I will be doing. This is a first time for me, and I've done woodworking in high school, which wasn't too many years ago. I'm like, what, 22 right now, so I mean, I've got very small amounts of woodworking ability, but I was one of the top people in my woodworking class, if that amounts to anything. But you know, I understand how wood grain works and how it all looks and everything, so I guess like I said, if I enjoy this, maybe I'll start buying more guns that need stock work. So you might see more videos like this coming from me, but until then, I don't know. But anyways, there we go. So you see the process. You kind of just nice and evenly coat it, and as it dries, it pulls all of that nasty, grimy stuff out of there. I should splash myself a little bit. So I think it's about as evenly coated as I can get it. And they say to just kind of brush it off, because once it dries, it is just that powdery substance. And it should come off pretty easy. So there you have it. I have a fully treated stock, handguard and all, and now we just gotta let it sit and dry. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and let that dry, and I'll get back to you.